WKHS, I'll take a look. No, well, it tapped 330 and then is pulled back. So this is one of those days where we're coming into the open and I don't have anything I'm really, um, you know, honed in on. VTVT is a possible scalp over 250, but I think that, you know, for me, and hey, Michael, great job, man. That's awesome. I think for me on VTVT, I don't trust it. So I feel like we're in a market where we're seeing the gap and fail, and so I'm going to just hold tight, maybe wait the first 5 minutes. Just watching. Jill popped up a little bit more into the open, but look, it's coming right up to that 775 resistance point. Now it might break over it, but right now it's at a resistance level. Sino. Yeah, Sino is a tough one also. I see upside resistance at $2. I don't really trust it, to be honest. We've traded this one before. It's a shipping stock. You see the $2 200 moving average. Jill is at the 200 right now. JILL. 37,000 share seller sitting at 735, 775. 38,000 share seller. MDGL, a 12-point rip. But again, your risk on that is incredibly high, in my opinion. It's got a 3-point spread right now, 181 by 184. ATIS, I typically don't trade these stocks under $1, so I'd watch to see if it can break over $1, and then that might be where I'd be interested. So I'll just put my order at $1 on this one. Put a 10,000 share order at $1. This is one of the times where I would take 10,000 shares right off the bat because it's so cheap. Jill high is 790. We can watch to see if it forms a clean 1-minute micro pullback. Yeah. ATIS being a penny stock, a lot of times those aren't on the simulator. CCCR, boy, that's a tough one. We've traded that in the past and taken some good sized losses on it. Not one I would jump into unless it really shows me some strength. Jill coming back down. I'll say Jill is showing some buyers popping up, which is interesting. 23,000 share buyer right now at 760. High of that level there's 78. All right, I'm long Jill for a stab here at 780. And I would add over high a day 790. I'm seeing these bids coming in, so that's what's kind of giving me the confidence to take a stab on it. I put an order at 790 to double on Jill. You see that bid there at 760. So high of that candle is 84. So 84 is the level that we would want to see break. Stopped out of Jill for a $999 loss. So fifth day in a row that I've started in the red. Fourth day in a row that I've started in the red here. I'm not wearing red. RTTR, I see that. So hit the scanner 4 times in a row. The high is 370. High risk with volume this light. The high is 75. So, right now we're looking for that stock that shows strength and continues higher. RTTR initially doesn't look like it's going to be that one. TPIV is interesting. It's not a breakout chart, it's more of a continuation chart on the daily. These can sometimes go into reversals. UONE is 5-cent tick. Not going to trade that. Yeah, technically MDGL is doing a 1-minute micro pullback here, but your range is so big. The high is 214 and the low is 202. The 14-point difference between the high and the low of the bull flag. So, sure, you could watch the first candle to make a new high, but if that goes the wrong way, it does a false breakout, it's going to hurt. So the risk to me on that is much, much higher. GNPX has big spreads right now. MDGS, similar symbol as MDGL. I'm not sure if there's anything beyond that. It's 218. You see the 1-minute micro pullback worked. I give credit to anyone that has the risk tolerance to trade this. I mean, this is a big move, but I just really can't take that level of risk. And we're not seeing sympathy momentum, right? We're not seeing any sympathy to that big move on MGGL yet. Well, trading a fifth of positions for me would result in a fifth of my profit, so it's not really worth it. And this one, yes, it is moving up, but and maybe there'll be a point where I'd consider taking a stab. There have been times where 5-cent tick stocks have made big moves, but generally they're just not as easy to trade. So I'm not sure it's really worth it. UONE is halted. Just waiting for that really good A quality setup. Jill, that was not a perfect setup. Maybe it was worth a stab, but probably an unnecessary loss. MDGS jumping around a little bit. Tapped 53, dropped to 41, back up to 55. 200 moving averages at 217, so you've got room. 360. MDGL at 220. ATIS is setting up first 5-minute candle to make a new high, still below $1 for me, but you see it. Nice job, David. That's awesome. Very good. I'm not really watching UONE. The volume is only 168,000 shares. It's a 5-cent tick stock. It's already pretty extended. I think it's just not going to. I don't know if it. I don't know really at what point I'd be willing to take the risk on it. I just don't see it as being quite right for me. It can. These stocks can halt on 10,000 shares of volume. They can halt on very light volume. It's not a matter of volume. It's a matter of how much it moves. VKTX at the 50 million share float, suddenly popping up there from 650 up to 7, high is 720. Could this go into a circuit breaker halt? Maybe. Needs to move a bit more though. High is, it's almost double topping at the pre-market highs. GNPX, Josh, is a maybe. The spreads are still pretty big right now. and DGL is technically forming a bull flag, is very extended off its 9 moving average. The 9 moving average is at 204 and it's at 218. So when you're extended that much, there's a higher likelihood of false breakouts where it pops up and then tanks, and that's where it could be difficult. UONE, like I said, the volume's so light. The high is 450. I'd say let it pull back, let it drop. If it comes back up and breaks through 450, that's sometimes where I'd be interested, but I can't get in here. $475. This is one that's just going to go without me. I'd love to get a trade. Look, I'd love to get a trade and finish the day in the green, but I don't want to go deeper into the red. If it wasn't a 5-cent tick stock, I'd probably take a stab. EKTX flagging here. It's a 1-minute pullback setup under the highs. The volume is 10 million shares though, which is, for us, pretty high. UONE back to 425. Let's keep watching the scans. Maybe something will surprise us. UONE going to halt going back down now. Looks like, yep. Let me look, Joe. VBIV, not a very good daily chart. The moving averages are all stacked up here, so that wouldn't be good. TPIV, I don't really like these daily charts because this one is now so extended. It's on the other extreme. I'd prefer one like down here where it's just starting to break out. That's better. Stock that's been beaten up and is curling and has a lot of room. That looks better. I'm not sure. 115 million share float. That might be one of the reasons. Float's too high. Zzan, this is one of those ones that if it starts to curl up, it could look better. Volume is light, but this one has room. $11 million share float. Yeah, so MDGL, make a new high, popped up to 27, and then dropped down to 19. So like it popped to 27, dropped to 19. That's an 8-point drop, and then it ran. That's the stuff that's really hard to trade through. That's why I just leave it alone. No, I don't have videos on credit spreads. As part of our options class, we talk about different types of spreads, but those are taught by Jeff, not me. The thing with MDGL that's also difficult is the fact that, God forbid, this gets halted on like a T12 or something like that. You'd have so much money tied up in it. I mean, it would be so much money if you were trading with anything close to a decent position size. Nice, Timmy. Good job. You did better on it than I did. VKTX has a high right now of 755. VKTX, I might consider scalping this because I think it could get close to a place where it could go into a circuit breaker halt. Just watch 1 minute micro pullbacks. High a day is 69. Jason stepping up to the plate, taking a short. Oh boy. Well, it just did squeeze up about 20 points. This is a doji on the 1 minute on VKTX, candle of indecision. VKTX watching here. I want to try to get in for a scalp. I'm just like not quite seeing the entry point yet. Maybe over 8. Okay, I've got a starter at 95 on VKTX. I'm just doing a quick little scalp. I sold 9,000 shares at 808. This is a very extended entry, but I was able to scalp 10 cents off of it, or almost 5 cents off of it. Stop is now 8. Stopped out at 8 for right now. High is 813. So $643 on 10,000 shares. Watch it over 810. So still kind of watching where can I get back in. These are tough. High is 824, maybe over 824. Okay, I'm back in at 824. And try to ride this up to the $0.50. Just added at 844 for the break over the $0.50. I'd add again at 850 if it looks like it's going to break 850. Just added at 844 for the break over 850. I'm holding, sold 3,000 shares at 51, and I'm holding the rest at, oops, there we go. So we'll see what this does. That was one of those fake halts. Back over 850, I would add. Stopped out of the rest. $974 total profit. BOXL, I see it. The volume on it's only 128,000 shares, so I want to see more volume come into it. I want to see it hit our scanners, and then I consider it. Right now, it's just a little light on the volume. VKTX high is 851, and watch to get back in on 1 minute micro pullback. So this VKTX move is kind of that irrational strength. High of 851. I would say VKTX, it's worth watching the first 1 minute candle to make a new high. High of the last 1 minute candle is 817, so maybe over 820. It's probably too extended for a 1 minute micro pullback to work, but you never know. 15 million shares of volume. So that's the 1 minute first candle to make a new high, and I'm hesitating on it just because it looks a little choppy here. Probably needs to set up on a 5 minute pattern at this point. High is 824. Kind of watching where can I take a starter, maybe over 840 for a break back over high a day. It is extended, but if people are short and they have to cover, they probably cover in the 40s, anticipating a high day break. You don't want to hold through a high day break. Uh, 15 million. You can see it on the daily chart right here. 16 million now. So high is 35, and the low of the pullback is 93. Don't want to see it break below 93 if it's going to hold up for a 1 minute pattern. High of the last 1 minute candles 20, possibly over 820. I don't know. A lot of churn. It's a very crowded stock. Trading the 1 minute breakouts is going to be more difficult. $35 is the spot that I'm still watching. The high of that pivot. Okay, I'm long at 38 on VKTX. We'll see. Hopefully I don't get stopped out. Looking for a break over high a day. Stopped out of VKTX at 810. VKTX is doing this grinding type of action. This is not easy. I trade in the IRA sometimes if I see a good setup. I haven't traded it in about a week and a half. MDGL, I'm watching, or sorry, VKTX. Okay, I'm back in VKTX for high day break. I'm looking for this to break over 850. High of that candle was 45. Sold half at 51. Sold the rest at 45. That was not the most exciting high day break. There we go. And then, of course, it takes off there. To watch over 75, see if it squeezes up towards 9. This did that kind of false break. It popped up, it pulled back, and then it takes off. High is now 85 on VKTX. almost 20 million shares of volume. High day is 85. There could be a scalp over 85 for a test of $9. Scalping this one is hard though. Just added at 83 for a scalp over the highs. I would add again at probably 95 for a break of $9. Watch for the break of 90. $90, $95 is kind of where I'm looking to add for that $9 break. High is 790 or 890 right now. High of this little pop is 90, so that's the spot to watch. 890. It is crowded, and it's difficult to trade because it's so crowded. It's up 76%, but it's not easy to trade. Stopped out at 70. Right now, just watching scanners. You know, we're at 10:30, so kind of at the end of the first hour. NDRA, I took a scalp on that off the scanners. I didn't call it out. I thought the risk was too high, and I lost on it. VKTX, you know, this one's frustrating. You know, I'm going to be the guy that loses money on a stock that's up 80% today, but you know, the strategy that I trade just didn't work really well on it, and has 23 million shares of volume. These ones just become difficult to trade. You see that pop there up to 90, that pullback, choppiness. The choppiness through here stopped me out twice. So I made 900, and then I gave back 1,500 on this drop right here when I got in at 35 and stopped out at like $8, and I gave back another 500 right here. BOXL, I see it, and I am watching it. You know, it's starting to open up a little bit. I want to see it. I want it to prove itself to me to really show strength. You know, it's starting to get a little action here, which is good. Not on my scanners yet, but will probably be on them fairly soon, I would think. The problem with it not being on scanners is that scanners is how we find these stocks. So if, you know, if it's not on scanners, people are not going to see it. It's not just us. It's the millions of traders that use these types of scanners. If it's not on scanners, people won't see it. So we need it to be on scanners. As much as I like it right here and it's tempting, the fact that it's not on scanners is a problem. So in this case, I'd rather buy it higher and have confirmation than, you know, get in too early. Well, 779 is a kind of breakout spot that gives room up to 968. I wouldn't necessarily recommend playing just 5-minute setups because there are times where we see huge opportunities on the 1-minute chart. So if you traded only 5-minute setups, you would miss a lot of good opportunities. That would be the downside. So, you know, I think at this point, the writing is on the wall for me. This is not a good day, and it's been four difficult days of trading, and today I don't think I'm going to come out on top. I think it is what it is. So, why don't we do midday market recap here? So now BOXL's on the scans. So now it may be worth a scalp. Let's just watch this for a second. Okay, I'm long BOXL for a scalp at 750. So I'm taking it for a scalp because now it's on the scanners, and that's what we needed. We needed it to hit the scans. So the high is 760, so over 760 I would add. These are the type just added at 760. I don't mind paying more for confirmation, and that's what I'm doing. I'm paying more for confirmation, and that makes me feel better about taking the trade. So we've got a high rate now of 775. Over 775, I would add again. Just add it at 775 for a test of $8. And I'll put an order at 8, which would be my next possible scalp. Again, only interested once it finally hits the scanners. The high is 790 right now. My average is now 757. Just added at 780 for the break over $8. I'll add again at 795. Watching for a break over $8 on VOXL. So into the 90s. When we see 90s print, the high right now is 95. So when we go back into the 90s, that's where I would add for a scalp over $8. Let's see what this does here. The high a day is 795. Stopped out for a $329 loss total. So, that's the way it goes. It's pathetic. So down $329 on that name. So I'll finish the day down $3,000. That's disappointing, but it is what it is. So I guess the people that made money on that were the ones that were in on the early side. Yeah, so Dennis, I said I was in, and then I said I was out. All right, everyone. So we're going to do our midday market recap, and we're going to go over the trades from this morning. This was a wild month. We're finishing the month of May, and I started the month with a red day, and I'm ending the month with a red day, but I'm finishing up $75,000 this month. It's been a crazy month. Some huge green days, but also some big red days. It's just been really all over the place. We've seen some big opportunities, but there's also been a lot of choppiness in the market, especially in the last 2 weeks. And this is not actually that much different from the month of April. The month of April was amazing for the first 2 weeks, and then the second 2 weeks were really, really choppy. And that was the same for May. First 2 weeks of May, I made like almost $80,000, and in the second 2 weeks, last week I was break even, and this week I'm down like $2,000 so far. So it's just been one of those weeks where we're not seeing good follow through, and I'm a little bit disappointed today that I'm finishing in the red. I was obviously hoping to be green today, and for me, being red is disappointing, but I'm a trader, so I have to get used. I mean, it's not a matter of getting used to. I've been doing this for a long time. I just have to, be okay with being red, because you can't fight it. There are just going to be days where you close in the red, and it is what it is. So today is maybe a little bit of a more frustrating day because I'm red on all of the names that I traded. So remember yesterday I was red on 3 out of the 4 names, and then I had that one, home run trade that made up for all of them. Well, today I don't have a home run trade to make up for all of them. And I don't have a blowout loss. I don't have any big, massive loss. I just have lots of small losses, and those add up. So today's one of those days where I just didn't. So finishing the day down $3,000, which is disappointing. I started the month with a $3,000 red day, and in between these 2 red days, sandwiched between them, we've got almost, well, I guess it's $81,000 of profit in the middle, and then 3,000 loss on the beginning and 3,000 loss on the end. So I'm not gonna cry, and I'm not gonna be disappointed, because it's been an amazing month. And years ago I would have killed for a $75,000 month. I would have been just so excited. So this is one of those things where when trading, you have to take the good with the bad. And so the good, of course, is a day where you make $30,000. On Wednesday the 2nd, I made $29,000. On Thursday the 3rd, I made another $29,000 in 2 days. The week of the 14th to the 18th, I made $25,000. So it's like, that's the good. The bad is Wednesday the 9th, I lost $13,000. That was actually, I think, my worst day of the year, and it was brutal. I mean, it wasn't fun at all. That was very disappointing. I wasn't a happy camper on that day. Today I'm down 3,000. I'm not a happy camper. I'm not excited about it. But mostly just because it becomes a little bit taxing when you have like loss after loss after loss, because you're like, geez Louise, what am I doing wrong here? Why aren't we seeing better follow through in the market? So first of all, today I didn't have anything on the watch list that I liked, nothing at all. So the watch list was a dud. There was nothing on the gap scanner that looked good. MDGS was the leading gapper, but at MDGL, but at $200, this was just out of my price range. So I don't trade this type of stuff. I just leave it alone. So first stock that was on our scanners was JILL, Jill, and on this one, I jumped in it shortly out of the gates when it was doing this little 1 minute pullback right here, this little 1 minute micro pullback. I got in and then I got stopped out on this red candle right there. So, this was a good flag pattern, but it broke down. It didn't retest high of day, which is what our target would be. It broke the low and dropped. So that was disappointing, and I lost almost $1,000 on it with 7,500 shares. So Jill stopped out of that one. Next one was VKTX. And on my first trade on VKTX, I got in at $7.95 right here, and I sold on this move up through $8. And I made $1,000 on it. So I actually went to being down only $24 on the day. And so at that point I was like, all right, I've recovered a little bit of the loss, not bad. I then get back in it right here at 8:35. I get back in for the break over this pivot, the high of the candle at 10:13, and I'm anticipating a retest of high of day. It then drops to 793 and I stop out for a $1,500 loss. So I went from up 1,000 on it to down 500. And now I went from down, 1,000 on the day to down 1,500 on the day. It curls up here. I get back in at this area, a little extended at like 85 for the break over 90, and I got stopped out as it comes back down. So I lost another $250 on it, and I'm down 770 on the day, despite the fact that the stock is up like 85%. So I feel like my strategy didn't really work well on this stock. And that's a little disappointing, but it is what it is. So this one I got stopped out. Trading on the 1 minute chart just was not easy. The 5 minute in this case was actually a little bit more predictable, and the 1 minute was quite choppy. So gave back some profit on VKTX, and then NDRA. This one hit the scanners. I didn't call it out in the room. I thought the risk was too high on it. The volume was very low. I was thinking maybe it would break over the highs and go up to $3. I got in right here, and then I got stopped out as it came back down. So lost 1,000 on that one, which was a stupid trade. And that one's kind of emotional. That was a little bit of FOMO. I just sort of jumped in it, and I didn't want to call it out because I knew it was sort of a stupid trade, and so I lost money on it, and that was my own fault. So that was $1,000 of unnecessary losses. And then BOXL, I jumped in this one. It's once I hit the scanner, I jumped in for the break of 750, 747, and it got all the way up to 95. But I took the approach of trying to add on it, thinking because there was news on it and because it was hitting the scanners, that maybe it would squeeze up into a circuit breaker halt and actually give us a nice setup, maybe a move up towards 968, which was our daily resistance point. So on this one, I kind of was swinging for the fences a little bit. And then I got stopped out on these two candles when it came all the way back down to 780. So I lost $329 on that. So that's what I get for trading past 10:30. I trade the first hour for the most part, and trading this one at this time of day was kind of a little bit stupid. But it was on the scanners. I thought maybe it would take off. It did have news this morning, but nope, didn't work out for me. So that's where today gets a little bit frustrating, is not even as much the amount that I'm down, but the fact that I took like 7 stabs at different setups, and I just my accuracy was poor. So it is what it is. This is part of trading. The interesting thing is doing the exact same thing will produce different results on different days depending on the strength of the overall market. And that's what gets very confusing. There are days where you can break rules. You can be buying stocks really high and it pays off. There are days where, doing everything right, buying at the correct entry points, you get stopped out because you're in a choppy market. So that's where things can start to get a little taxing emotionally, because you're like, I'm following all the rules and I'm still losing money. And then a day where you just get sloppy and you break the rules, that's when you get that bailout, and a stock like NDRA or BOXL ends up saving your day. And it's like, you weren't really following the rules, it wasn't really a good setup, but it worked. So I don't know. In any case, I'm not going to complain. I'm up $75,000 this month, maybe 74 after commissions and stuff. I'll see what it's at, but somewhere right around there. The IRA is sitting at $21,000, a little bit of profit on this month, and I'm pleased with that. So last May, just to put it in perspective, last May I made $17,000. I was putting myself in trader rehab. I was in Italy, and I had lost 4,000 in April, and so I said coming into May that I was going to be on trader rehab. I was going to be disciplined and just try to really stay focused. So 17,000 last year and 75,000 this year. So year over year, I'm up like 400%, which is really, really good. Last year in February, I made $68,000, but this year in February, I lost 10 grand. So it's the ebb and the flow. I'm sitting right now up $278,000 this year. I'm at $613,000 in the account that I started January 1st, 2017 with $583. So I'm at $613,000. Life is good, $386,000 until I hit the $1 million, big line in the sand. So I'm still in kind of the middle of the marathon here. It's just got to stick with it, stay focused. If the summer gets slow, if the summer gets choppy the way it did last year, I'll just have to buckle down and settle in. But I'm willing to do that, and I know I'll come out on the other side stronger and better, and I'll just keep growing. So for all of you guys who've been watching over my shoulder this month, it's been a lot of fun. I want to thank those of you who have contributed to the Memorial Day Warrior Trading Gives Back Challenge and made a pledge. For me, half of my profits from this month are going to charity, so that's around $37,000, which is great. I was hoping that we would get it up to $50,000. If I had made 100 grand, that would have been the case, but I didn't quite get there. So that's all right. $37,000 is still good. That'll help a lot of those charities here in the Berkshires accomplish some really good things. So that's all good. And those of you who've been watching and seeing these gains, these crazy big days, I know you're getting excited and you're thinking, all right, how do I get started? I want to get into the market, and I just want to encourage you guys to keep trading in the simulator. Trade, practice. You'll get to a point in the simulator where your metrics will justify trading with real money. And when you get to that point, that's when you flip the switch and you go to real money. But until then, practice in the simulator. This summer is a great time. Summer in general is a great time to practice because you get generally an opportunity to be really disciplined and really focused. And then coming into the fall, that's when the market picks up. September, October, November, December, those are usually really strong months. So spend the time studying this summer. Today's the last day of our Memorial Day sale. We'd love to have you guys join the Warrior Starter course or the Warrior Pro course. Both of them include access to our chat room. They'll give you a chance to trade in the simulator and go through our classes. These classes have been taken by thousands of students before you who are now on the other side trading profitably. So make this the summer where you learn how to trade. Commit yourself to it. All right, so that's it for me. I'll be back at it first thing tomorrow morning. We'll finish up the week, first day of June, hopefully with just a little bit of profit. But it's been a choppy week, so I'm not going to try to swing for the fences. I'm just going to try to make a little bit of money and try to finish the month with or finish the week with some strength. All right, so that's it for me, and I'll see you all back here first thing tomorrow morning, 9 a.m., 9:15, pre-market analysis. All right, I'll see you guys then.